Yo, what's good? What's poppin'? What it is, what it ain't, what it could be, what it should be, what it would be. It's yours truly back at it again with another episode of Funky Friday to give you good content for the masses and real funky stuff for your asses. It's yours truly, Cam Newton the Son, Mr. Boogie the All. And today's topic is something that I feel like needs to be discussed. I'm not talking about anything, that a normal person doesn't necessarily see or witness, but I think this is a challenge for all leagues, NFL, MLB, NBA, Olympics, NCAA, or whatever. And there's a fine line with being a good fan of the sport and just being completely disrespectful. I think I want to hit it with the realization of understanding and as I was kind of preparing for this topic, I had some help from the producers to kind of discuss like what's real disrespect to a player. You know what I'm saying? What's real issues? And I wrote some down here in recent news. Obviously, we know about Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is a person who I love everything that he does. From the fashion, obviously, and, the passion that he plays with. Now, one thing that being an athlete, you always are warranted by understanding you play in front of tens and thousands of people, or you are televised for millions to kind of see. So those things go into mind as you're preparing for your sport, off-season, training, preparation for a specific game or whatever. And that's fine, that's cool. We've all seen the interactions that, the Michael Jordans have had, the Reggie Millers, Scottie Pippen, versus, Spike Lee at Madison Square Garden. Those issues, I'm fine with that, and I'm cool with that. What I'm not cool with is when a fan takes it a little too far. What's too far, you may ask? Is when you say something demonizing or disrespectful that you won't normally say to that person in public. When you're at the grocery store, when you're at the coffee shop, when you're at a restaurant, when you're at these places where we are normal then. And there should be the level of understanding of normacy when you're at these games. No matter if you're LeBron James, Tom Brady, Russell Westbrook, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, or who knows, Kawhi Leonard, you should always respect that person for who they are and respect what they do, whether you're a fan of them or not. Now, there's a difference between saying, Cam, you suck. I'm cool with that, right? I would probably, respond, so does your mom. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's competitive banter going back and forth with you and a fan, right? And I've had the likings of being addressed in many different ways and facets. I remember when I first came into the NFL, I was getting a lot of pushback with the towel over my head. Oh, Cam's sulking. Oh, he's a sore loser. Oh, he needs to learn, how to respect the game and understand certain things. But to say that on one hand is also to respect and understand on one front that say, okay, that's that, but also to agree to disagree that you could say, that's just Cam being Cam. Now when I look around the league, I see a lot of people putting towels over their heads, not getting scrutinized like I did, and I'm not expecting, no title or no trophy for starting a trend, but I'm just using that as an example to get into my topic. Now, going back to my examples in recent news where we've had issues with real players being confronted by fans in a very disrespectful manner. And I think the NBA, the MLB, the NFL should take notice to it because enough is enough. And I don't care if it's a person paying top dollar for their seat to have front row seats or quote unquote courtside seats, or a person that's in the damn nosebleeds. Because truth be told, I think I speak for a lot of players when they want to say or they want to do, and the reality of it will be, man, I will beat your damn ass. Like, real talk. And I don't care who's stopping us. I don't care where we are. What you're saying to me is uncalled for. One of the examples that I have is Quentin Jefferson from the Seattle Seahawks that happened a couple years ago. And here he was leaving the field because he was ejected. And a fan may have said something to him. It caught his attention because it stopped his walk off the field, and it got his attention. And he proceeded to kind of go and ask in an aggressive manner, like, hold on, wait, what just happened? Fast forward to what transpired from that was fans actually throwing beer or throwing what seems to be beer at him. And I'm like, bro, are we athletes or are we animals? Because in a lot of ways, we do feel and get treated like an animal. Now, somebody who may be watching this may say, you don't get paid like no animal. Yeah, that's understood. But I will say this. You don't see LeBron James going into your day-to-day job as a teacher, as a lawyer, in your cubicle where you may be working and say, man, to hell with you and your son, I hope he gets into a car crash. You will find that highly defensive, and that's even worth being sued for, words that you may say. But if it happens, what makes you think that LeBron coming into your day-to-day job, and that's not okay, but you go to his everyday job, which is on the court for millions of people to see, and think that it's cool for you to say something outlandish about him and his family, or another athlete and their family, right? I think it's time for us to just realize, like, all right, am I taking it too far? Because just as that example is one, you have another example where Carmelo, playing in a couple months ago, and he stopped the game and called somebody out, for what they may have said. And this is what I hate the most. I love how when somebody gets called out, then they play the victim. Like, oh, I didn't say that. He said it. You know what I'm saying? And it's almost like, nah, motherfucker, like you said the shit. You know what I'm saying? Because if you said that shit to me at Lowe's, Home Depot, I will beat your like I'm 6'7", I'm 6'9", I'm 6'10", I'm 6'6", I'm 6'4". Hell, I may just even be a kicker or a punter. Or I may just be a water boy. Or I just may be somebody who is a human being that doesn't deserve to have or doesn't deserve to be talked to in a manner that's disrespectful. And it's a difference between, hear me out, there's a difference between antagonizing somebody disrespectfully and antagonizing somebody, competitively. And there's a fine line. So if you say, oh, LeBron, you can't buy a bucket, that's funny, right? But, and I'm pretty sure he won't retaliate in a way. But when you say, hey, LeBron, your wife is da-da-da-da-da. It's like, whoa. Hold on. Wait, what'd you say? You feel me? And it's real people out there that talks extremely reckless at these games that they need to be held accountable, just like how players are held accountable. And a lot of times, players don't have opportunities to really vent and say or, come out of the closet to protect themselves, because I don't think the penalty for outlandish fans are strenuous enough to protect the players from that, if that makes sense. So if you were to say, all right, fan, if you say something or do something crazy and you get removed from a game, the penalty is you can never come to a game again. Really? When you know, and I both know, if you're a normal seat, it's impossible for somebody to kind of go about it like that, to really know. I got suspended for a game in 2006 and they said that I can never go to a game again. But here we are in 2022. who knows if they done went through all type of different managers, they done went through all type of different coaches, they done went through all type of different personnels to keep an account of who's doing what and what's doing who, right? So here in recent news, man, I seen, you know, a Portland Trailblazer basketball player, Jusuf Nurkic, and, you know, he approaches a young fan, and it seems like he's about to take a picture with him. And he just takes the fan's phone and just throws it. Now, whether he was right, wrong, or indifferent, 9 times out of 10, he's not going to retaliate in that manner if he didn't feel like he was disrespected. And I don't care if you're 10 years old, I don't care if you're 60 years old, wrong is wrong and right is right. And a lot of times we've seen it. I mean, I've seen it firsthand where you see guys on campus and they're one way, innocent as all get out, and then on game day they just turn into this maniac fan, face painted, you know. They are the E of a whole trail of people, and that's what sports brings out of people. And that person then turns into this, you know, rambunctious individual that's no holds barred and filtering nothing that comes through his teeth. And I'm like, hold on, wait, when is enough enough? You know what I'm saying? Being a fan like that to support your team is one thing, but I guarantee you that Jusuf felt disrespected in a manner that, you know, it needs to be highlighted, right? No matter how it was portrayed or whatever, certain things should be penalized to the highest degree, because you see athletes like LeBron, you see athletes like Russell Wilson, Steph Curry's of the world that actually go through certain things, and some people are mentally strong enough to block it out, right? You only can imagine, you know, the rigors of what the likes of Jackie Robinson went through. But at the same time, we live in a day and time where access is king. You know, people want behind the scenes, you know, access to players. You know, now you see arenas, now you see stadiums that it literally walks through. You walk through lounges to get on the court. You walk through lounges to kind of get on the field. And what fans may say is pretty much whatever the hell they want to say. You know what I'm saying? Until somebody retaliates in a way that is like, oh my God, somebody need to get him. He crazy. He out of control. But at the same time, who's to say the fans aren't out of control? And you hear about all different types of, you know, fans from many different places: Seattle, Philadelphia, Atlanta, New Orleans. All these places have very emphatic fans that believe in their team, right? Good, bad, or indifferent. And that's cool. Where does the line get crossed that just as much as you're upholding these players to a standard to act professional at all costs, where does the fan have to act professional at all costs too? Because above all, athlete, no athlete, entertainer or no entertainer, we're still human beings at the end of the day. So, like I said, my rule is if you're not going to say it to me in the grocery store, you shouldn't say that shit to me on the court, on the field. Because if the situation was flipped and there wasn't no stands to kind of go through, if it wasn't no, you know, barriers to kind of go through, you'll get your damn ass whooped. Like, real talk. And we're talking about a person who trains at a high level a lot, and, you know, they get paid to do one thing, but they also have access to do other things too. So I say that. I'll give you another example. You know, I spoke about, you know, Scottie Pippen and Spike Lee. I saw that in the Last Dance documentary, and that's entertainment. You know what I'm saying? Like we live for that as fans. And when I sit back and watch sports, you know, with my family, those are some of the things that line necessarily wasn't crossed, but it still was something that I wonder what they said. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember very vivid when, you know, the Bulls played in Madison Square Garden and Scottie Pippen had the most disrespectful dunk I've ever seen in my life. He dunked on an individual, and then he proceeded to, you know, walk down, you know, courtside and then told Spike Lee, man, sit your ass down, right? And Spike Lee being an entertainer, he knows, like, you know, whether it was disrespectful or respectful or not, it was still entertainment at the end of the day. And we have to know when that line is crossed from being entertaining and being disrespectful, because we aren't animals, right? We aren't these people that are you know, shell shocked or mentally, you know, bulletproof to hear something and we not retaliate to something. You don't go to no zoo and you don't poke the bear and realize when you get your ass killed or mauled and you say, oh man, I didn't even do nothing. Where was the tamer or the lion tamer when everything was kind of going on? But you prompted that to happen. So no different than when you're at a game and you're saying, hey, so-and-so, XYZ. And everybody's information is known online. Like you Google Cam Newton and whatever, it's there. So personal information is at your fingertips at any given point. Who you're dating, who's your baby mama, who's your wife, who's your brother, who's your sister, who's your friends, what's going on in the current news. And you can get heckled for it. So for me, it's like, when do we put the foot down with allowing heckling to be going or to go too far, right? So, you know, with that being said, man, I just wanted to, you know, kind of put everybody on notice to, you know what I'm saying, understand that this is a real issue. You know, I don't care if you pay thousands of dollars to be behind the bench and you say something that's worth like, hold on, bro, like, no, I'm not that. You're not gonna call me no boy. You're not gonna call me outside my name. You know what I'm saying? A racial slur where that happens a lot more than it gets highlighted enough. And this is not a black and white thing. This is not a race to race thing. This is a human to human thing where it's a real issue. And I think these leagues need to start holding fans accountable to that, because it does tarnish the sport to a degree. Because if you don't want the players to retaliate, or if that's in their contract not to retaliate about certain things, then you have to also have the respect from the fan base to be able to say, hey, you know, you can't say this. And if you do, it has to be a penalty that's worth not doing, you know. And if that be the case, I'll use an example about murder. Like, people don't murder people because they know if they murder somebody, they're going to go to jail for a long time, outside of the agony of that family that has to go through. So, you know what I'm saying? With that being said, that's the only thing that I really wanted to kind of bring to the forefront, man. And I would love for you to kind of, you know, voice your opinion, leave a comment, like it, of course, and tell me how you feel. Because this world that we live in, I think sports does so much for us. It brings so many different people together. It unifies so many different people for that time stint that we're going through. Look at how many people who are in retrospect strangers come together to watch a game for March Madness. How many people come together to watch the Super Bowl? How many people come together to watch the World Series? And during that time, you don't think about sexism. You don't think about prejudiceness. You don't think about, you know, if this person is a racist. If your team that I have a jersey on, you have the same type of jersey on, and that person hits a home run, you're looking around just high-fiving people left and right. And that's the beautiful thing about sports. And we want to keep it that way. So for that, it has to be respected on all fronts, not just the players, but as the fans, to protect the players, for them to be able to do what they get paid to do, right? So, as I always end things, one finger, one pinky, one finger, one thumb, one love.